welcome to Stationery by Justine. I'm Justine. I am a wife, I am a kindergarten teacher, an Etsy seller, and a crafter. And this channel is meant to inspire you to create. If you like what you see, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe for future videos. I'm also a Spellbinders influencer, so all products from them are free to me, and the opinions that I state in my videos are my own. If you are interested in what I am showing, there are links in the description below this video, as well as a link to my Etsy shop. Today I'll be making one card and showing you 3 cards total using the large die of the month from Spellbinders, and this one is called Kaleidoscope Floral Slimline. And if you did want to pick this one up, I will mention that you need to subscribe to the large die of the month before the 24th, so you will be able to get it. Otherwise, you'll be enrolled in the next month. So for this card, I am going to show you the process of how I made it, and at the end I will show you 3 cards that I made using the die, but not showing you the process of all of those, but you'll kind of get the idea because it's basically the same thing, because the die is very intricate and it kind of makes the card for you in that way, which is kind of neat. You just have to pick out what colors and assemble. So I chose teal and purple, like a purple pink and a yellow, and I kind of wanted it to be more of a vibrant, bright card. The other cards that I made were all one color, but just different shades. So to make the flower, the kaleidoscope flower, you need at least 3 different pieces of paper. They don't have to be different colors. I guess you could do all one color, but to kind of get the fun kaleidoscope effect, I chose 3 different colors, and I chose to use the purple pink color to go with the thin flower, so that will be on top to match my background. So I did die cut quite a bit here, and I just tried to use little square pieces of paper and some scraps for some of it, and with a little bit of liquid glue you can make some flowers. So I ended up just assembling them pretty quickly with just some liquid glue. I'm using the Art Glitter Glue, and it works pretty good. After I'm done assembling the whole flower, I'm going to glue it directly onto that white base piece, and then I'll just use a stamp block and another bottle of glue just to weight it down so it doesn't come off. Just for a few seconds there as I make the next one. You can see off to the right I did have a number of little flowers that I used from the same paper that I made my kaleidoscope flowers with to go on top of the white small flowers, and I just did that as I die cut the other ones, just putting it in at the same time with my plates. It's pretty easy just to stick it next to it because these are pretty small. But when I looked at the kaleidoscope flowers on there already, and I started kind of positioning where do I want the little flowers to go, I kind of found that the pink little flowers here kind of got lost because they're the same color as the background. So I ended up die cutting some more green and yellow flowers, and I just ended up kind of forgetting about the little pink ones, and I'm sure they'll go on another project or something later, but I didn't end up putting any of the small pink purple color on because, again, I just didn't want it to get lost in the background. So now that I have some more of the green and yellow, I did just want to mention that you can line up the flowers onto the white background. I just kind of liked the way that it looked when it was curved and turned, so it didn't line up perfectly. And I am using my hand and just kind of putting the flower into my palm and then kind of squishing the middle just so the petals get rounded And I know that there's special tools you can use with like a ball on the end to round petals, but you don't have to use any real tool to get that rounded look. You could just fold it even with your fingers, and I found that pretty easy. I am using that reverse tweezers to put on the middle just because it is quite small. So to add just a little bit of oomph to the card, I am using some Glossy Accents, and I am going to put it first in all of the big die cut flower area because I did not want to do any inlaying first. For me, I'm just not really a putzer, so I didn't really feel like doing any inlaying on this card. I did on another one that I'll show you at the end, and I did like the way that that turned out. It was pretty, and it wasn't as complicated as I thought, so maybe I will do it in the future. But when this Glossy Accents dried, it got a little darker, and I really love the finished product. And I did also add Glossy Accents to the center of the small flowers, again just to add a little gloss and prettiness. If you do use it, I will caution you that it does take, I don't know, if for globs like these that are pretty big, maybe an hour 10 to dry fully. I would just set it off to the side and forget about it. But I guess I felt brave and I decided to do some rhinestones after. So I chose black just to kind of be different, and I wanted to do a black sentiment with black ink, but I ended up putting the sentiment in the inside, so I think it looks like it coordinates anyway, but that's fine. The black gems are pretty bold anyway, so I'm just using that glue and putting a dot of glue on it, all of the dots from the die, and plopping them down. I'm also using that jewel picker that I have shown before, so pretty helpful. Since the overall look of the card is pretty bold and kind of colorful, I did want a bold sentiment with like darker, thicker black lines. So I just found this one that says Beautiful Friend, and it's from a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. So I think it was like last summer. And then I'm just using some black ink and some clear embossing powder to give it a little shine to go with the Glossy Accents and heat embossing. I love how that looks. Heat embossing is just my favorite. And to finish off the sentiment, I do not have coordinating dies with this stamp set, but I decided that I'm just going to fussy cut it. I'm not the best fussy cutter, but it'll do. And with this sentiment, I felt that if I just cut it with straight lines, it would look a little weird. So fussy cutting it is. I ended up just putting the sentiment on the inside of this card just to not cover up any of the beautiful outside, but that's okay. And I ended up getting a tiny bit of ink on my card, but somehow I used a pencil eraser and it came right off, so I don't know. Maybe it was just meant to be that way. I don't know. I do love the way that this card ended up looking, and even in person it looks even better than it does on camera. And here's the other card that I made. I didn't do any of the die cut inlaying on this one, but I used gems and lots of rhinestones on this card, and it's kind of a blingy card. I used the Glossy Accents again on just the inside of the small flowers, and it's a full slimline card this time. I love the pink. All right, and this is the last card. On this one, I did do the inlaying, and I made it just an A2 card. And I did that by just cutting off part of the die, that white die, when I first die cut it. And it was really simple. And since it was smaller, it was quicker to assemble. And it still has that wow factor from those kaleidoscope flowers, which are just really, really neat. So I did put little pearls on this one instead of rhinestones, so that's another difference. I love how beautiful this die can be with different colors or one color with different shades. I did want to try making one that was all white, everything white cardstock for the back of the card, the giant slimline, the die, all the flowers, just try everything with white. And I did want to do one with a black background with like a pop of a bright color. So we'll see if I can get those made and maybe put them online. I don't know. We'll see. Here are all 3 of my finished cards using this large die of the month. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and like it and subscribe for more. Thank you. Bye.